is Dr. Supreet from Department of Commerce, University of Delhi. So today we'll be talking next into the series of digital marketing, wherein we'll be talking about the e-business and its framework. Right. So when we talk about this e-business, it basically refers to the use of the web, internet, intranets, extranets, or some combination to conduct the business. And e-business is sometimes being considered as akin to your e-commerce model, but it definitely goes beyond the simple buying and selling of goods and services online. So because in case of your e-commerce, what you do is you simply buy and sell the goods online through various portals, through various applications, websites. But when we talk about e-business, it's more than that, because it is a wider ambit under which your e-commerce comes. It talks about wherein not just the simple buying and selling of goods and services is taken place onto the digital platform, but also the digital payments, the procurement of the goods, handling of the consumers, making sure of the supply chain. So everything is being very organically managed, but with the help of your web, internet, extranets, as I mentioned, right? So e-business is a wider range of your business process, which includes your everything right from the sale and purchase of the goods and services to the electronic order processing, to making sure that you have a robust supply chain management, to making sure of your customer relationship management, which we also refer to as your ECRM, right? And basically your e-business processes, they help the company that they operate more effectively and efficiently. Right. Now, when we talk about your e-business, we talk about a number of aspects which are related to the same, because e-business being a very generic term, it encompasses all your forms of digital information and communication technologies to support and optimize business processes. Whereas when we talk about your e-commerce, it only describes the online trading of goods and services. That is why it is a subsection of e-business, right? Now, if we see about your e-business, right, so we take into consideration a lot of, wider things. For example, when we are saying a company A, it is an e-business model, right? So then we are saying that yes, this company is not just making a simple sale of the goods or providing services using the digital platform, maybe through an application or maybe through a website portal, right? But also the company is ensuring that whatever raw materials are required so as to process the goods, or from wherever the goods are to be procured, they are also digitally procured. Digitally procured means you are making sure whosoever is the supplier of, let's suppose, the final retailer, so that retailer is also procuring the goods from that supplier using an e-model, right? That means there will be the electronically you could say processing of the order. Furthermore, even when you are tracking onto the supply chain system, right, supply chain management, that is also digitally being tracked. So nowadays we see that every consumer can digitally track onto the very placements of the product from different points, and he can just track the same using blockchain technology. So that is one part wherein a consumer can directly see into the things. He can see into from what all processes has a good travel from the producer to the consumer. So what were the different nodes into that journey? So similarly, when we are talking about these e-business models, we are talking about that yes, it entails a lot of things, and all those things are being managed or handled using the digital platform. So now you can look onto your screens and you would see the major components of your e-businesses. So what are these major components? These are basically your e-procurement, online stores, online marketplaces, online communities, online companies. So when we say about, let's talk about each and every aspect one by one. So when we say e-procurement, you must have heard about the government e-marketplace, which is your GEM, wherein the government makes sure that whatever handling of goods and services, whatever procurement of goods and services happens, it happens digitally, so that it bypasses all the loopholes, it bypasses all the inefficiencies into the system, and it will plug those loopholes. It will make sure that there are no more any delivery inefficiencies. Plus furthermore, it will make sure that your corruption also gets reduced or altogether eliminated, because what will happen, there will be a clear and transparent platform wherein all the eligible suppliers, they will get themselves registered onto the portal, and the buyers, by punching into some connected strings or the search words, they will see into, let's suppose if I type in furniture, so all the suppliers who are the providers of the this furniture, or whosoever is the manufacturer of the furniture, they will be displayed onto that screen. So through that, the customer can look into, okay, this is the supplier. Now whether he is a manufacturer or he is is a company, is an agent who is providing the products of this and this company, right? So that ways you can look onto the goods, you can procure the goods digitally. So that is one element of this entire component of your e-business, where the goods are being procured digitally, right? As I told you that it happens very visibly onto your GEM, which is a government e-marketplace, where the government makes sure that it is very transparent. Buyers and sellers can meet at one point, and they can look onto the upgoing bids also, they can look onto the upgoing, you could say, the tenders, and they can otherwise also procure everything through this e-procurement portal. So that is also one of the component of your e-business. Now when we say online stores or online marketplace, that means that it is providing you a wider array of goods. So that wider array of goods are being provided onto these online stores, wherein the goods are compartmentalized into different sections, right? You can look onto, okay, the digital catalog, and you would see, applying different filters, what all applies to you. Let's suppose you want to buy some clothing, right? Some apples for the same. So you will do what? You will visit any, let's suppose, online store, and what you do is you filter out the things. You see, whether it is a segment which is applicable to the men's, or it is a segment which is applicable to the women, right? Or it's a children's segments, and within those segments you further put on certain filters, or the website is that much sorted, or the online stores are that much sorted that they provide you such information in different categories, so that the consumer should not feel a sort of or a stage of confusion. There should not be any ambiguity, right? So you will see that for women's, again you would see different things. Let's suppose within clothing you would see there's a segment for jeans, there will be a segment for trousers, there will be a segment for tees, there will be a segment for sarees or suits maybe, right? So this way you can see into, they'll be having different segregations. So these are the online stores where the entire display of the goods are being done digitally. Online marketplace, when we are saying that yes, this particular business is not just making sure that the goods that it is providing you that platform where the goods are being procured digitally, but also that digital catalog is there, that digital store is there, and it is just like a marketplace, right? Wherein you can look into different goods, you can compare them, right? Digitally compare them, you can make a critical analysis of the same, and then you can make a decision of either buying the good or not to buy the same. Similarly, when we are talking about online communities, so online communities means that in case you are having any doubts or you want to ask something, any queries you want to raise upon, you need to know about something, or let's suppose you want to drop a feedback for the thing or the good or the services, so that is also being taken digitally. That means that entire customer relationship management is being done digitally. So that is why what we say that it is an online community where you will feel connected with other set of users, right, and wherein you can share the information on real time basis. You can get updated about, let's suppose, the products, about the quality, about the services, about the delivery mechanism of the goods, right. So it is, all those things which earlier was going on a traditional format in a physical form, now everything is being taken place onto the digital channels, right. So that is why we call it a pure e-business model, because it's not a hybrid. You sometimes see it, let's suppose ABC company, it is also having a store and it is also operating digitally. So that will be what? That will be a hybrid segment that you can, if you want to get the goods, you can go to the digital store also, and if you want to look into the goods physically, you can visit the store also. So that's not a pure e-business model. It is rather your hybrid model, right? But when we talk about your e-business model, it is basically, comprising of various elements, and those elements are that right from the origin to the dispatch to the feedback, right, everything is being digitally handled. So when we say, let's suppose your procurement, so that being digitally handled. When we say your online stores, that is also digitally handled. When we say online communities, that means you are interacting with other consumers. So that is also digitally being, you are given a platform or an interface to do so. Similarly, all these companies are operating onto the online interface, and they are providing you, even for the payment solutions, you are given the digital payment solutions. That means you have those options of choosing from whether you want to go for cash and delivery mechanism, or you want to use a UPI, or you want to use net banking, or you want to, let's say, operate using, you want to operate using a plastic card or a smart card. Plastic card, we refer to your debit and credit cards. So whatever mechanism you want to choose to pay off the payment, so that is also being digitally provided. So if you see your cash and delivery, what will happen? Your order will get processed, it will get delivered onto your place, right? Everything being digitally handled. So then whenever the delivery agent comes to a place, you are supposed to hand over that much amount to the, that agent, and he'll hand over the amount further to the company center. So that means that the company is making sure that all of its components are being digitally operated, managed and handled effectively and efficiently. Now, you can look on to that e-business again. It's not just these 5 components being the major ones, but these are the major arenas where we can draw upon that, yes, this is how e-business company operates. So, as you can see onto your screen, that e-business is much more than that, right? So, we see upon that collaborations, they also happen digitally. We see upon that e-commerce, which is also a subsegment of your e-business. We see to, let's suppose, supply chain management, let's suppose your, receivables, let's suppose your customer handling, or talking about digital payments. So everything is under this ambit of your e-business, right? There are many firms into the market. You can name them, the renowned brands, or you can, otherwise classify them, and you would see that yes, they are operating digitally, right? When we are saying that they are operating digitally, that means that they are providing you the products and the services digitally, right? So उसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि आपने e-commerce का transaction करा, जहाँ पर you have bought or you have sold the goods digitally. That is one aspect. Then आप सिंपल प्रोसेस में क्या करते हैं, आप किसी वेबसाइट पर जाते हैं जो प्योर ई बिजनेस मॉडल होता है. आप क्या करते हैं उसमें, उस वेबसाइट पे लॉगिन करने के बाद, राइट, आप देखते हैं कि आपको कुछ गुड्स अच्छे लगे, यू कंपेयर देम, यू ऐड देम टू द कार्ट, राइट, before buying them up, whatever you want to go for, you add them onto the cart, and देखने के बाद, thoroughly going through the same, you select that okay, now let's just check out for the same. So when you check out for the payment, You get various payment options, so that is also digitally being handled. Whether you receive a UPI का option या wallet का option या debit credit cards का या some other cards you are getting an option or smart cards you are getting an option, so that is a digital payment solution. You make the payment, then you can see that this is the delivery date, this is the delivery time, right, by when and by which time or date you will be getting the delivery, and which person will be bringing up the goods. So sometimes the name and phone number of the delivery agent is also given, right, and moreover not just the name and the, let's suppose, the contact number, but also you can track your order. So company provide you that real time tracking and tracing, wherein you can track your shipment, you can look into your shipment, and you can see that where your product exactly is, right. So that is also what digitally being handled, right. Now let's suppose now you receive your good, correct. So after receiving the good, you want to provide a feedback onto the seller. Maybe the good is defective, or the good is damaged, or it is not up to the mark, or let's suppose the other way around also. Let's suppose the good is good, quality is good, the color is good, you find it very appealing, and you want to write a very positive review about the same. So in either of the conditions, you are given a platform where you can digitally add on to your comments or your reviews about the product that you made. So you sometimes get that message now after buying a product onto any, let's suppose, ABC portal, and you get that how did you like your recent purchase, how many stars do you want to give them up, right. So that base you provide your feedback, and that feedback is also being very very efficiently, carefully being handled, and based on to the same, if you are not, let's suppose, satisfied, so they'll give you a call back, right. That is also a part of your customer relationship management, that they'll call you back, they'll ask you about what is the issue with your recent purchase, what were the hassles that you face, right. So that's what is an effective CRM, right. So that is also being digitally handled. So that is also another part of your e-business. Now let's suppose you want to connect to other people, around, other customers around who are consuming the same sort of goods or same sort of services they are taking. So there's an online community for the same. So that is why we are saying that everything is being very organically being managed using the digital channels, because digital channels are more cost effective, they are more you could say time effective also, so and speedy and swiftness you would always see into the digital channels as and when compared to your traditional modes of communication. So for each and everything, whether you are talking about advertising about the brands, whether you're talking about managing the payment solutions, or you are talking about taking care of the goods and services or the supply chain, for that sake, you want to make sure, the supplier wants to make sure that whatever stages it crosses before reaching to the destination point to the consumer, the consumers as well as the suppliers are able to trace them up onto real time basis. And the good, because as we say that any good, be it is into the digital era or into the traditional era, they should meet the basic utilities. Now what are those basic utilities? We call them the form utility, that says that the right product should reach to the right person at the right time, onto the right place, in the right form. जिसका मतलब ये हुआ कि when we are saying that goods are being digitally handled, then we are saying that the right goods should reach to the right person. That means the article that you are sending, it should be correct, right, and to the person you are sending. So the delivery to whom is being made, so that person should be again a bona fide one. Then on to the right time, that means as communicated, right place to the right address. And when we say right form, so that means the product's freshness, or you call it its quality, it is intact. That means there being no tempered, or there being no problems with the product. It should not be infested with some bacteria, it should not be damaged, it should not be suffered from any defectiveness. So that ways that form utility should also be ensured. So when we are saying digitally, so then also you are taking care, you are taking that extra effort that yes, the goods reaches out to the consumers into the right form, in the right time, and onto the right place. So company always wanted to express themselves as the key, that they are doing their best to serve the consumers with the best of the goods, right? Because into this changing times, every business process, they are trying to meet up the challenges of the new market, right? And the in order to meet the challenges of this new market, they need to be updated, they need to provide such services or goods that are providing them edge into the market, or they are able to withhold the customer base. Retaining the consumers is most important thing. So that is why you would always see that companies engage into one or the other thing, so that it gets connected with the consumers. So when we are saying about e-business as it takes place between a number of market participants, it happens between business and consumers, it may happen between administration and consumers, or let's suppose between various private individuals, public administrations, or other organizations. So when we are talking about the major participants into the e-business model, then we have the business, then we have the consumers and the administration. So number of interactions happens between three major distinct categories, and accordingly we see into that yes, these are the different business models, and they are operating into this very niche segment. And plus furthermore, one more important thing is that when we are talking about these e-business models, again and again I'm telling that there are various components that make it entire this e-business model. Because one aspect is your transaction, which is just e-commerce. Another aspect is the digital payment solution. Another one is the supply chain management. Then you are talking about the communities for, let's suppose, even for the feedback or the grievance redressal. Then also let's suppose there being a return of the good, right? For the same also you need to ensure that there being well in place reverse logistical system for the same, right? And plus furthermore, for whatever add-on services, there needs a strong ECRM, that is customer relationship management system. So beyond all these things, you require that constant monitoring, you require that coordination is being maintained between different nodes, right? So that the end consumer should not feel dissatisfied. Because in case of your e-business models, you have since you are into digital era, so you always have that chance of losing up the game when you are not giving your 100%. That means when the goods are not updated, or the model is such which is not effectively taking care of the consumers, then obviously you are not going to survive into the market. So in order to survive into the markets, companies have to go for this constant evolution. That means constant you could say betterment or improvement of the things or the technologies even. So even if we are talking about the interface that the consumer is seeing, so let's suppose if I want to, again let's suppose I want to buy shoe, right? I'll simply say shoe onto whatever search engine. So it will give me these options of different websites. Now what to choose from? I'll let's suppose go to first very web page. I don't find the user interface to be very effective. I don't find it to be very engaging. So I'll do what? I'll immediately go back and move to second website, right? That is being given as an option. So that is why it is very crucial that the website, since everything is being handled digitally, So as it happens in a traditional store, that it has to be aesthetically being, at times they make sure that the showroom is having the good ambience, the shop is having the good ambience, effective, or you could say proper care and time, or concentration to customer feedback, customer point or QDs are being given, right? So proper time is given to the same. Similarly, into an e-business model, you have to make sure that if the customer visit your website, it is getting whatever he or she desires for, and for the same you need an effective UI, right? That means user interface. That means the color theme of the web page should be such that it is engaging. Furthermore, the payment options that we are talking about, the payment should not take 5 to 10 minutes. Today nobody would wait for 5 to 10 minutes, rather they will quit the transaction and they'll move to any other website, because they'll say that this website is always having a trouble. So the payment should be as much quick as 5 to 10 seconds. This is what the consumer wants, that immediately if they put the goods into the cart and when they proceed for the payment should be the quickest thing possible, right? And it should be it is really very good for the business also. So once you're done with the payment, again the very immediate updation of the portal or the customer dashboard should take place, that immediately he receives a notification, whether onto the email or to the message or onto nowadays onto WhatsApp even, maybe for that sake. So you immediately gets the notification onto any of these modes, so that the customer feels like, okay, this is I placed the order and now I'm getting everything, update about everything, whether my product is under process, it is being dispatched from there, or it is with the delivery agent, or it is going to get delivered on this and this date. So that ways you need the timely information about each and every aspect. So that is why it says that it takes a lot of efforts to maintain a business, and especially an e-business. So you have to be cautious of a number of things. You have to be cautious of providing safety to your consumers. Safety in a sense is that your website should not get hacked, or the data of the consumer should not get leaked. So all sort of your the safety concerns of the consumer should be effectively being taken care of. Then furthermore, let's suppose the customer has put the goods into the cart and he is not making a purchase. So those reminders to the customer should go well in time. Okay, that these goods are lying into your cart. So that sort of nudging them well in time will make the potential customer into a loyal customer maybe later, right? Or it will turn a lead into a sale, as we talked or discussed into attribution model. So you need to nudge well in time for the same, right? And one more thing that is with respect to these e-business model that one should be very careful of, that as we say, the customer is the kingpin, and into the digital era he has wider array of options. That means he can choose from from firm A to B to C to D and so on. There are so many firms, there are so many business models. So you need to make sure that when it comes to your very web page, so you are able to turn that lead into the final sale, right? And another thing is that that you need to have that competitive advantage, that the product that you are offering should be there into a niche market. When we are saying into a niche market, that means you are specifically taking care of a segmentation of the consumer. Let's suppose you are focusing on to youth, you are focusing on to, let's suppose, women's or the children's or the adult segment. So that should be your one niche, right, onto which you are having a strong command. That is your main core. So that ways you should establish your core, and fundamentally you should draw your policies and strategies accordingly, right? That these very cores of yours are getting the desired thing that they are expecting from any e-business model. So e-business models, they are being as we talked upon, that it has various components, and it is much wider than your e-commerce transaction, because that is simple sale and purchase, and it goes much beyond that. So, we will be continuing about different models of your e-business in the second segment. So, thank you.